The Congress of the People, COPE, will be launching their manifesto in Kempton Park today. This as it seeks to convince voters to give the party a chance to govern ahead of the local government elections on the 1st of November. Reporter Ntlantla Kgatlhane is there. Ntlantla, good morning. Welcome to the show. What's currently happening?
Well, good morning, Eldrin. Coming to you right here indeed from Kempton Park, where Congress of the People is set to launch its manifesto. But what I can tell you now is that we've seen people slowly coming in at this venue. When we spoke, Eldrin, to COPE spokesperson earlier, he told us that, today their message is going to be quite interesting as, they continue to try and, offer people or tell them the reason why they should give them a chance to vote for COPE. Earlier when we spoke there, if you remember, Eldrin, COPE is just 11 years old, and I did mention that, in the past 11 years, the party, when it was formed in 2008, it had 37 members in parliament, but throughout its 11 years, we saw their membership, slowly decreasing. To date, we know that COPE only has 2 members of parliament. So that speaks to, how the party has been suffering. But today they believe that, the message that they have, or the message that they are going to use to convince people, it will yield good results. COPE spokesperson there saying that, their primary focus is going to be, to eliminate corruption at municipalities, saying that they are going to use, a basic, simple strategy whereby they are going to look at the auditor's report and ensure that, through that they learn a lot and ensure that whatever is written there which is wrong, it's not going to happen under COPE, saying that with them, they will ensure that people get electricity, they get clean water and houses, and they will ensure that, this system of, corruption, the rot of corruption at municipalities, it's dealt with. COPE saying that, they are very hopeful, looking at where they're from, saying that, their internal squabbles are done now. They gave time to deal with their internal squabbles so that they can come back and focus on delivering services to the people. Eldrin?
Ntlantla, quickly speak to me about just your personal experience as a journalist in COVID-19, and here you have an election manifesto being launched, and it almost feels that it's quite subdued compared to the previous coverage of election manifestos launched, whether we speak about 2019 or even 2016 for that matter.
Yes, well, indeed, Eldrin, we have seen a lot of changes, during these campaigns. Now, political parties very restricted in terms of, how they do their campaigns. I mean, today here I asked Mr. Bloom, how many people do you expect? He says that, no, we don't expect a lot of people because we still don't want to be amongst the parties that are blamed post-elections when, maybe let's say the infection rate increases. But we know that COVID-19 played a huge role in terms of limiting political parties' engagement with communities. Hence, they said that, I spoke to him earlier, what was your position with regards to elections being postponed? He said that, they were against elections being postponed. But after the Moseneke report, they sat back and they regarded it as being scientific and said that, no, but there's a thing to talk about because, they also now changed their position to start thinking along the lines of, fairness in terms of campaigning and also trying to avoid, this deadly virus or the infection spreading further of this deadly virus. But this far we have seen political parties being restricted in terms of, how they normally do their campaigns. But with regards to what's going to happen with regards to numbers, that remains to be seen because, COVID-19 has shown us that it keeps on, raising its head unexpected. But political parties, are trying by all means to send their message, trying by all means to, do their work, but also being cautious of the fact that, COVID-19 is still with us.
And I was thinking now, Ntlantla, about the 3 other political parties that will be launching their manifestos over the weekend. You have the Democratic Alliance, the ANC, as well as the EFF. And when you look at the ANC and the EFF, they tend to put on a lot of what some people call the stadiumology, where it is a show of force and filling up a stadium. But this time around, things would be different for specifically those 2 political parties, I guess.
Yes, Eldrin, but the most important one to look at is on Sunday, the EFF, because we had their leader saying that, throughout their campaign saying that, people should come and paint, Gandhi Square red, saying that, it's just next to the head offices of the ANC, so they need to send a strong message to the governing party to show them that, their time is over, encouraging people to come in their numbers. We know that the ANC is going to also, hold its launch the following day. So that remains to be seen in terms of numbers. And, the most important thing is that, post these manifestos, post the elections, as we approach, as we'll be approaching the festive season, it will be quite interesting to sort of monitor, the numbers of, infections after the November 1st elections. Where will the country be with regards to, the numbers of infection? If you've seen, Eldon, since last year, we've been keep on going up and down with regards to infections. And also just to talk about, our vaccination drive as a country, it's still, a bit low, and elections are around the corner. Political parties restricted, like I already mentioned, but other political parties, going all out to ensure that, post the elections, they get a chance to govern.
Kgatlhane makes a good point there as well about the COVID-19 positive cases, whether we will see an increase, also considering that you still have some political parties that are going via the traditional way of campaigning, which also includes that door-to-door campaigns.